Frozen. You're identical!
Separated at birth, identical twin boys share a love of music. One finds fame, the other dreams of it. It stars newcomer Blake Rain, Ray Liotta, Ashley Judd, and Joe Pantoliano, who recently paid a Rise on Screen a visit to talk about the film and his career. You've given so many memorable roles, so many characters. How do you choose a role at your best, and what made you want to do the identical?
Depending on how much they pay me. Usually, or if it's the location. James Mason used to say you do one for the art, one for the money, and one for the location.
Okay.
This one covered all three bases.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But what did you resonate about the character that you played?
I found it interesting that a character as iconic as this Dexter Helmsley, like someone like Elvis Presley in status, and if he had a twin brother and didn't know it, and what would that be like for a person to go through life seeing someone snatching up their dreams and not knowing that they actually are kin, you know.
Now, let me ask you, you clearly are one of the best character actors of the last 40 years, in my opinion. And
100.
Okay, 100. Okay, best last 100 years.
Not since Frank McHugh.
But what about you? Do you aspire to do leading roles? Would you like to be have your own TV series where you're the main actor?
I had all of that. I just was so lousy at it that it got canceled. It's like I just want to have good parts and good pictures, and I'm at a crossroads now because there's a thing about age, and as a character actor, I always thought that the older I get, the better my opportunities are going to be.
Right.
And that's true, but the competition has become greater because a lot of the leading actors who don't do leads anymore are now muscling in on my territory. So it's as challenging as ever before.
Well, I don't think anybody can really muscle in on your territory. There aren't that many Joe Pantolianos. You've played such memorable characters on The Sopranos, Bad Boys, even Risky Business, Guido the Killer Pimp. I mean, there's so many iconic roles. How does that sit with you when people remember you, not necessarily knowing you, but remember you from the role and quote dialogue back to you and things like that?
It's terrific. You know, it's terrific that people like what I do, and I make them, and I'm remembered for that. That's what I always wanted.
Well, you know, that brings up another question I always wanted to ask you. When did you first know that this is what you wanted to do, that you wanted to be a storyteller, you wanted to be an actor?
I guess when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, it was a secret. It was, a secret that I wouldn't dare share with anybody because where I came from, you weren't entitled to have that size dreams. But when I was 18 years old and I did my first high school play, I knew I was hooked.
And that was it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, throughout your career, one of the other things you've done is you've actually written a couple of books, and you even made a documentary chronicling your battles with depression. Now, what was the impetus for that? There was a film that you were in, you had mentioned to me before?
Yeah, it was a movie called No Kidding Me Too, and it was less about my personal struggle with depression and more about the hope that's available and getting better. With mental disease of any type, you got upwards of 85% full recovery, and because of the social taboo that shrouds this disease, people are afraid to talk about it openly. So the movie really was a story in exposing the shame, and once you take the shame away from the distress, you find out that everybody can relate because everyone has something going on inside of them, and you feel less alone.
Okay, now, there are a number of movies, of great iconic movies that you've played that they've been talking about making sequels to, like Midnight Run and Bad Boys and whatnot. But and Matrix, what can we look forward to that you know is coming? Anything that you?
I just did with the Wachowskis. They have a new show called Sense8 for Netflix. So I did 5 episodes of that. It'll be out next year, and they, they're talking about doing all these sequels, which would be great because then next decade would be completely paid for.
I understand. Well, thank you, Joey. I definitely have enjoyed your work for a long time, and I hope for another 40 years.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we'll be back when we return.
Hey, Rigby.
There's only one heart in this body. Have mercy on me.
2 stories about one couple falling in and out of love. James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain star in The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. Them. Next, here on Arise on Screen.
Away from things, start a whole history of walk away.
Where are we?
Someplace good.
I have no clue where she's going.
We're the first international television crew to visit the scene of Boko Haram's most audacious attack. We're in one of the dormitories where the insurgents came in and abducted the girls.
Okay, the time that this thing happened to us, we are in the school, so we are sleeping in the room, and we are hearing the gun.
The teachers ran away and left them alone.
There is some anxiety here as we prepare to show the Boko Haram video of the abducted girls to their families.
Now I am feeling happy because we see our friends, but we want to go and bring them for us.
For Arise News, I'm Charles Onyegolu in Borno State.
What are you doing?
Taking my shoes off. I'm going to leave first. And then when the time is right, like when the maitre d's not looking, you meet me down the street.
Excuse me, sir.
Every love story has 2 sides, even when love unravels. James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain star as Connor and Eleanor, 2 people falling in and out of love in The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. One love story told from both sides. Hi, I'm Mike Sargent, and this is Arise on Screen. With me in the studio is Bobby Rivers, Rakia Mays.
Thank you.
Okay, now, interesting about this film, and I think you liked it, this film was originally released as first one version, Her.
Right.
Another version called Him, and then this one, they kind of edited the 2 together and called it The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby,
Why was that?
Them.
Okay.
Everybody wants to do something different.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't mind. I kind of like the fractured narrative where you kind of got to piece it together and see
Right.
it's from 2 sides. And I've always been fascinated with the idea of telling a story from 2 sides. Now, this worked for you and you liked the
I liked it.
chemistry.
I thought the way that it was structured, it was like a stage play. And the movie, I liked it. I didn't love it. It seemed like a scene class with really good students. That's what it had. And you have Jessica Chastain, who was reunited with her co-star from The Help, Viola Davis, as a university professor. The acting was good. Again, somebody from the United Kingdom playing an American. Yes. That's James McAvoy. It's like a boutique film. I don't think this has mainstream appeal, and the subject is parental loss.
Well, they're going to release Him and Her separately in October. So I'm sure Rakia is going to run.
No.
Now, Rakia, you found this movie boring. You couldn't wait to leave the theater and depressing. Talk to
it
me.
was a downer, depressing and slow to build. And, the title was off-putting. I mean, The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. I don't want to tell what it's about. Yes, she does disappear, but I thought there would be more action. I just thought there would be more something. It was a downer. And this is not a film for anyone that wants to go and actually see some type of action. It's something that is definitely, it will stay. Is it really a love story? I mean, there was
a lack of love story?
It's a lack of love. It was just depressing, and
Well,
I feel depressed thinking about it.
You felt depressed thinking
I felt
about it, even just
depressed
talking
now.
about it.
Yeah,
You look a little
absolutely.
depressed
It's
talking about it.
horrible. I
What
don't
about
like it.
Did you like the supporting play? William Hurt and Isabel Huppert?
They were
Parents.
fine. I mean, the standout in this film was Viola Davis. Whatever she does.
Viola
is
Davis was
gold.
very good.
She really was.
very-
She really was.
She did stand out. All right. Well, I'm sorry you didn't like it,
Yeah,
Ricky.
it wasn't your movie. Don't be
Well,
sorry.
no, I'm just, but you had to sit through it for me.
Yeah, thank you
So I
for
appreciate that, for
Thank
sitting
you
through that.
for
Okay,
that.
our final film is a powerful drama called La Playa, D.C., which was an official selection at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012. It's an odyssey of an Afro-Colombian teen named Tomas who searches for his younger brother and best friend who's disappeared in the slums of Colombia.
Esta trenza es como un mapa. Ella te lleva por buen camino sin hacerte perder, te ataja de los peligros, te lleva derechito donde quieres ir.
Now, I thought that this movie was strong in that it builds, because you start to get to know these characters. There's very little dialogue actually in this movie. Like the first 5 minutes, there's no dialogue. And when characters speak, they just speak a little bit, more like people do. I thought the performances were understated. That worked for me. Okay, I know it didn't for you, Bobby. We're going to get to you in a minute. But you found the story was really more of a star than the actual actors.
Yeah, I think it was about the story, connecting the hoods of the world and showing that people of color are struggling and working to survive all over the world.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
everywhere. And that's what I enjoyed. It was a story about working to get out of desperate situations and working to find yourself and come alive and just survive. And I enjoyed that.
I was struck with the creativity, because he clearly had creativity, and I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but that's what came out, that he found a way to channel that creativity.
That's right.
And the score.
Oh, amazing hip-hop music, you know, Colombian hip-hop.
Colombian hip-hop.
And it definitely was, they often say hip-hop is the CNN of the ghetto, the CNN of the hood.
Hip-hop's the CNN. I haven't heard that one. I like that.
Yes.
Well,
Bobby?
you see that influence in the movie, definitely. That's
Now,
a
you
major
didn't like
influence.
this too much.
Well, you know, maybe I expected too much. I thought, well, maybe it's going to have like the punch of a City of God, City of Men. And I thought it was well acted. It just, I expected a little bit more grit. There were times when it felt to me like Thug Life meets Steel Magnolias. Because of accent on hair care. But that's...
accent on hair. Well, Bobby.
But and I don't want to give anything away. But I felt like I had seen that kind of foreign film before. Not that it shouldn't be done anymore, but the points that you made were accurate, and I got that. I wanted something a little.
You wanted a little bit more,
something
a little
stronger.
more gravitas. Okay.
I needed something more.
Well, I thought it was an interesting film, and I do recommend it's an interesting film to watch, and it's available actually on VOD.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a lot of fun, both of you. I wish we had more time,
We
but
do too.
we'll be back next week to talk more movies here on Arise on Screen.